Want different results? Who doesn't? Do this one thing right now and see if it doesn't help you to get different results faster than you ever even imagined possible. I've been doing this for a long time. One of my core values is creativity, creative problem solving, finding different solutions to what people consider impossible problems or situations, or we get ourselves locked into this all or nothing thinking. I have to do this or it's the end of the world. I have to do this or it's the end of the relationship. I have to do this or that. But it's usually just one thing or it's a catastrophe. Anybody else ever do that? I do it less and less the older I get, but I used to do it a lot when I was younger. I think we started as teenagers. We do all these scenarios. We run them through our heads. But, well, if we're smart, we do. If we're not, we just act without thinking, which is very predominant in our teenage brains back in the day. So today we're talking about how do we do this? How do we get the results that we want in our life instead of what just kind of seems to show up by default? Well, the number one secret is if you want different results, you have to think differently. I know it sounds super simple, but it's a lot harder than we think it is for the vast majority of humans, right? Today is all about being more creative, finding creative solutions to problems that maybe you've had your entire life. Looking at things from a different point of view or a different perspective is an example of thinking differently. So lots of different ways to think differently. But creativity opens the doors to possibility for us. And that's why I am such an avid believer in creativity and doing things different ways and figuring out what ways work best for you and then doing more of that. Excuse me, I need more coffee today. Nice Shine Always cup, love it. Because that's part of thinking differently too. Do we show up as the best possible version of ourselves every day? Every day? No, I don't think any of us do, but can we continually improve and make an attempt and put some effort toward being the best version of ourselves every day? Of course we can. So brainstorming without judgment helps us to see other possibilities, other ways of dealing with something, other ways out of a situation that we might not like, or ways to improve something, a challenge or a setback or an obstacle that we find ourselves up against. The fastest, easiest way to get out of that is to look at it from different perspectives, different points of view. Because what's a problem for you right now, because we're defining it as a problem, is something most likely tens of thousands, if not millions of people have solved before. So whenever we think we're at this impasse and a dead end and we can't figure it out, we're just doing that to block ourselves from seeing what's right in front of our face. I think one of the best things we can do is check in with our mindset and say, what might be contributing to this in my belief system or in the situation that's triggered me from something in my past? Because it's usually the case. So what are some ways to deal with this? Constraints to figuring something out or finding the solution or even seeing the solution that's usually about this far from our nose. It's usually within 5 inches of our nose what the solution is. And sometimes it's just right above our nose. Actually, all the time it's right above our nose. We just don't believe it and let ourselves see it. Excuse me. Our action item today is going to be super simple. I want you to pick one problem or challenge you're facing right now. Since we're dealing with mental health and well-being, why don't you pick something? Oh, you're feeling too much stress in this particular situation, or something happened that hurt your feelings, or whatever it is. Just pick one challenge or situation, and what we're going to do is we're going to brainstorm 20. I usually use the 10-3-1 tool and say, okay, brainstorm at least 10 possible ways to fill the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So how do we do this with our results? We look at a result or something that we don't like that's showing up in our life, and we go backwards. I always go backwards from there. I learned, I don't know how I learned it, but I learned in corporate America and in the world of work that if I personally looked at a situation or a process backwards, I could find the holes in it really, really quickly. Other people will look at it step by step by step by step. And I do that too. I'll walk through the whole process when I'm examining or auditing a new process. But I also find that I can still miss things, right? Because our brain works faster than our hands can in many instances. And so I might go through a process document and then realize, okay, there's a hole here somewhere. I don't know where it is. So then I just go through the process backwards. And it's just a quick, easy, change of point of view, change of perspective, different way of looking at something. And whenever we look at something from a different perspective, we see things that we never saw before. There's lots of tools we can use to do this. We can use the 6 hats tool, the 10-3-1 tool I talk about all the time with the SOAP framework, usually for brainstorming options. We can just grab a piece of paper or a Post-it note and just start writing things down as they come to us throughout the day. And it's every problem. I have yet to find a problem that isn't figure outable. And I'm sure people are going to message and say, oh, well, how about this or that or world peace or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in our lives, things that we can control. Because the truth is, the only things we can do are control ourselves and take care of ourselves and continually improve ourselves. Everything else is kind of ancillary, might be able to have an impact and an influence in your life and in your different situations and different organizations you're involved in. But the truth is, everyone else just has to decide for themselves what is true, what is right, and what works for them. And if we stop trying to change people and just change ourselves instead of a good example, that is actually the best thing each and every one of us can do. There's also a technique called Scamper, and it's just a different way of looking at a situation from different perspectives. I'm just going to run through it quickly so you have it as a tool in your toolbox. S stands for substitute. What is something we could substitute that might help solve this problem or get me a better result? Another one is to combine different things on your brainstorm list, your 20-item brainstorm list. Oh, wow, this only partly solves the problem, but if I put this one and this one together, it more than solves the problem or changes the situation. A stands for adapt. M stands for modify. P stands for put to other use, meaning repurpose. E stands for eliminate. Hey, there's some stuff that just doesn't need to be in our life anymore, right? I say doubt, worry, fear, anxiety, stress, overwork, burnout. None of those need to be in our life. Suffering. What are some more? I'm sure there's a whole bunch of things y'all can think of. And then finally, R stands for reverse. And that's what I mean when I say, okay, how can I reverse this situation? We're going down a road and realize we're in the wrong spot. Guess what? We could just shift into reverse and go back, take a couple of steps back. Sometimes that's all it takes to change the way we're looking at something. So today, share in the comments below. Do this. Brainstorm 10 things. Listen to me. Habit. Brainstorm 20 possible ways to deal with the situation that you're looking at and finding yourself in today. I challenge you to just pick one small thing. Don't pick a giant thing. You can if you want, because guess what? The process works on big things just like small. It's like people ask to win the lottery and they ask to win like a scratch off or a pull tab. Why wouldn't you ask for the whole shebang? It takes the same amount of energy to get that result as it does to get a $5 scratch off or a $2 scratch off. I don't even know what they are these days, but I think you get my point. So then share in the comments below. Think about today, because this will help you to get a different perspective on things. Where are situations? What are things in the past that I have done that I just changed my thinking and changed my point of view or perspective? And all of a sudden, everything opened up to me and I could see clearly what my next step was and what I had to do. Share one of those examples in the comments below. One thing, one problem that you solved by changing you, changing your perspective, changing the way you saw things, changing the way you judge things. Ooh, that's a biggie for me. All right. If I can help you in any way, just ask. Otherwise, go out, make it an amazing day. Make your life better today just by thinking differently and opening yourself up to the possibilities. They're swirling around us all the time. All right. See you tomorrow.